Life, Dorchester's only hyperlocal podcast for news, content, and analysis. We are talking today about urban college, multilingual learning. We're going to have some great guests on for that. But before we get into that, we're going to talk to Bill. Hello, Bill.
Hey, good to see you again.
Good to see you too. It's a little rainy out today.
It's very rainy, yeah. I'm a little soggy.
I'm a little here for it, though. It's been a dry
We needed
year.
it. Yeah, with your peas, the backyard, everybody's lawn. It's been a kind of a dry season, and we need the rain. You're right.
Guess who's not here for it?
Your dog.
Humphrey.
Humphrey,
Yeah.
sorry. I don't know
enjoying
my
it.
name yet. No, why not?
He just doesn't like anything to happen in rain. He's a very dry dog.
He wants to run around Ashmont Adams.
He does.
Dry pod.
Why do you not have a dog, Bill?
My daughters have clamored for one for many years, but we've made the decision we have enough mouths to feed for now. Maybe in the future.
Dogs don't go to college, though.
I hope not. We're done with that for a while. No more new college tuition payments, please.
For a couple of years, anyway.
At least.
Yeah. So we've got some exciting things to talk about this week, one of which will be the vaccines that are going to be available for folks in Dorchester and Boston, which is great. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to talk a little about a new business. New business?
It's not that new. It's 10 years old, so it's kind of a milestone. They're new by certain Dorchester companies' standards, but yeah, they're a great business, and we'll get to that in a minute. But Chill on Park, they're awesome, yeah.
Yep, and then we'll wrap with a little election news update and maybe some legacy stuff. You've got some papers in front of you.
I brought some, Seth Daniel has been upstaging me when he comes on the pod with his relics from the basement or the attic, and I went digging in the crates this week to show you a few things.
Seth's going to have to come back on and compete with you.
Yes, please. On behalf of all the listeners, yes, please.
All right, well, let's talk about vaccines. We touched on vaccines a couple of weeks ago with some RFK news, but now we've got positive vaccine news.
I think so. People who, there's split opinions on this, obviously, but here in Massachusetts and Boston, there's, I think, consensus that the vaccine programs we've known for decades, or in the case of COVID-19 since 2020 or 2021, are a necessity for public health. And we have a mayor and a public health commissioner who agree. We have a governor who agrees and a DPH commissioner who agrees. So just in the last couple of weeks, obviously, Maura Healey has marshaled state resources to make sure the vaccine programs in Massachusetts will be intact and fully funded and distributed. And just today, and we're taping on Thursday the 25th, Dr. Basola Ojikutu, who's been here on the pod before.
Friend of the pod.
Absolutely, a Dorchester resident, held a press briefing to explain how the city is going to roll out vaccines. And they are being more intentional and trying to amplify the need for people to get vaccinated this season, whether that's the flu shot or COVID-19 or childhood vaccinations, because of the confusion and the chaos coming out of RFK's health and the Trump regime. Yeah. Clearly, people are confused or uncertain as to, who are they supposed to listen to here. The messaging coming out of Boston's leadership today was very clear. Pay no mind to what's coming out of D.C. Mm-hmm. Misinformation is the way it was termed. Dr. Ojikutu called it reckless and dangerous, the way that the federal government has approached public health in the recent weeks. And the big appeal today was to let folks know that anybody in Boston from age 6 months and up can get vaccinated for flu, for COVID-19, and for a whole multitude of other childhood vaccinations for free, whether they have insurance or not. And they started it today at several sites in Dorchester and Mattapan. At the IFC, which is the Haitian Center in Mattapan Square. Today, it was the first day of free vaccinations at that center. There's going to be throughout BCYF centers throughout the city, as well as at City Hall. They'll be offering free clinics starting today. And there's a whole calendar of and listings available on the City of Boston's website. We have it linked at .news.com.
Is this an appointment only or by appointment, or is it just walk-in?
No, it's walk-in.
Nice.
You can go, anybody can show up. They do ask if you have insurance to bring your card, because the city is going to seek to get reimbursed from insurance companies after this program's over. But really what they want is everybody to just do it. Anybody who wants to get the shots, come and get it. Don't hesitate. The flu season kicks in, in a major way in December.
It always starts earlier than I think, though, because if I get the flu, it's usually like early October. I'm like, this is not flu season yet, so like, don't wait.
Right. That's why they're doing this now. Yeah. And the other reason they're doing it now is because BPS is back in school, and they're coordinating this with Boston Public Schools, with BCYF. And of course, you don't have to go to just those sites, those city-run sites and clinics. You can go to local health centers. You can go to hospitals, obviously, or if you have primary care physician, go do that. Or you can go to pharmacies. One of the reasons they amplified this so much today is because we've seen several pharmacies close in our neighborhoods in the last couple of years, several Walgreens in particular.
I want to actually hold on that for a second, because it was something you said just piqued a question.
Sure.
So I believe the original guidance from the federal government that the FDA was not going to recommend these shots anymore made it difficult for like CVS to offer them, right? So is that changed?
It's changed in that they do offer them. Here in Massachusetts, there are some states apparently where that's not the case.
Okay.
But here in Massachusetts, CVS and the Walgreens that remain do have supplies of COVID-19 vaccine, Pfizer and Moderna, and they also have the current flu strain vaccine that's in circulation this season.
Okay,
you
because
can go
we were
on
the list originally of states that couldn't supersede the federal FDA, but apparently that's been
Maura Healey and Robbie Goldstein, the DPH commissioner, about 2 weeks ago now, just came out and said, nope, we're not going that road. And basically, the New England states, what we've seen really is a regional healthcare approach from the New England states and other, the Canadian provinces as well, that are like, this is crazy, and we're not gonna follow those guidelines.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it ourselves, and we're gonna organize that at the state level, and now at the city level, obviously, Mayor Wu's administration is doing the same and amplifying that, but they're following the state guidelines. The city of Boston here.
Okay.
Dr. Ojikutu was very clear that they're following the recommendations of state public health officials and science, and they're not going to listen to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on this one, or on many fronts, obviously.
Let's hope. So the other question I had for you was about the season. Do you have any intel so far of what this flu season is likely to? Usually they have some sense of how bad it will be or what strains it will be. Do they have any of that yet?
I wasn't on the press briefing today.
Okay.
What Dr. Ojikutu did say, though, is they're very concerned that people aren't going to get vaccinated at the rate that's important for collectively us to get vaccinated. I mean, there's a herd immunity that is part of the rationale here. And when you see, especially with the children, when you see kids or parents electing not to get their children vaccinated for other things like measles and childhood vaccines, that can be a larger public health risk, obviously. But in the case of the flu season, I don't know just yet. I didn't tap into that with them. But they're clearly making the case that everybody who's eligible, and that's in the case of COVID-19 and the flu, I believe it's both 6 months and up is the recommendation, particularly recommended for folks 65 and over.
Or if you have comorbidities.
Yes.
That still, okay.
Right. But they're really making this call for everybody who's willing to do it and wants to do it, to not hesitate here.
And just to touch on briefly the other vaccinations for the childhood that are listed in your article. So you've got DTaP, Tdap. I didn't know that those are two different things. Hepatitis A and B, meningococcal, varicella, polio, and MMR, which is measles, mumps, rubella.
Yep.
So are they also, you might not know this and this might be too soon to know, but I know the MAHA recommendation that came out last week was to space them out more and give smaller doses at a time. Is that?
The state's following
none of that?
Right. The state has not changed their guidelines.
Okay.
So what Boston's doing is going to fall in line with what the Healy administration has outlined, and that's going to be what people have been accustomed to
for years
over the last number of decades, really. And just to touch briefly about the pharmacy issue, because we've seen an attrition in Dorchester and Mattapan in particular, and Roxbury, in retail pharmacies, which is where many people in recent years have gone to get their COVID shots or flu shots.
And groceries. I mean, everything.
Right. Obviously, you lose something when you lose a lot of things when you lose a local store and pharmacy.
Yeah.
In this case, people don't have as ready access to the vaccines if that's where they got them before. There still are, I registered online to get my vaccinations at CVS on Morrissey Boulevard. No problem. Plenty of appointments open. They did run out on the day I said that, so that was a problem. But I will get it rescheduled.
Yeah.
But there have been several pharmacies that have closed. Most recently in Cobham Square, Mattapan at River Street, as well as Gallivan Boulevard.
Yeah.
Last year.
By the Staples. This is all Walgreens locations.
Yeah, all Walgreens. Yeah. Walgreens is in kind of contracting nationally in a massive way. So all these shutdowns aren't just a Boston thing, but the impact to our retail districts has been acute. And on the public health front, part of why they're rolling out more sites for free vaccines through the city is to fill that gap in a bit.
Okay. You know who is still open? Is Crawford.
Crawford Drug on Dorchester Ave.
And I think they do home delivery too.
And they also sell the Dorchester Reporter at the cash register, so go there.
And they're local and they're great.
Absolutely.
Anything else we need to know about these vaccines? I'm sure there's a lot.
If you're looking for the locations and the time, please go to boston.gov or go to .news.com and click at this story. There's a link to the full list. It's multiple weeks. I have to say, and I hope they fix this, I don't think there's enough places in Dorchester. There's a couple, but I think they may need to expand the not just the time horizon, but like the number of locations. I know this is a tough effort, and the city's having to scramble because,
didn't plan on having to do this 6 months ago.
I guess not. But yeah, that's the big takeaway is check it out, and obviously consult if you do have a physician. Consult your physician; they may be able to do this for you too.
Yeah. Speaking of local businesses, one that is not closed and is really fun to go to, aside from you can go get a shot, but then you can go get some ice cream.
I think everybody who gets a shot deserves an ice cream or a frap or something. And if they're looking for that, they should go to a place on Dorchester Ave in Fields Corner called Chill on Park. Chill on Park just celebrated their 10th anniversary, and they're on the cover of the Reporter this week for that reason. Congratulations to Wendy and Alan Isaacson, who are the co-owners, and they own the building that Chill on Park is in. And during Dorchester Open Streets a couple of weekends ago, they had a formal celebration at the store.
Very cool. Was it busy?
It was very busy because they did a collab with the Dorchester Art Project.
Oh, very cool.
And they had a DJ in there. It was lively. Seth Daniel from our team went in and checked it out. And Seth wrote the piece this week with Wendy and Alan to talk about, this 10-year period. It's been a tough run. They went through COVID with this business. It's a grind running a mom and pop store, which literally this is. Mm-hmm. Wendy really operates it mainly, and Alan runs the H. Levenbaum Insurance Agency, which is just on the kitty corner with the store. They own those buildings right there in Fields Corner. And his family's business, the Isaacsons, have been running an insurance company in Dorchester for about 100 years. They have a very, I think I'm going to make a prediction, they'll probably be a Legacy Business Award winner. If not this year, then they should be soon.
Which, by the way, those nominations just opened up.
That's right. That's also at boston.gov. You can make nominations.
Yep.
And for sure, H. Levenbaum. And now, by the way, Chill on Park can qualify because it's a 10-year. You have to have been in business for 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, to be a candidate. But Chill on Park is a success story in part because, as Wendy and Alan explained to us this week, they've employed over 130, mainly teenagers, since they opened.
Did you say 130?
Over 130
wow.
now over the years, right? And counting, because they're very much a going concern, and they're a terrific ice cream shop. But they're a great first job for scores and scores of local kids, mostly Dorchester kids, who walk there after school or after the Boys and Girls Club. Wendy has a great relationship with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Dorchester. and she serves as a mentor to some of those kids. I've seen her talk to kids there and give them advice about career options. She wasn't always in ice cream, and neither was Alan. They had an empty storefront in Fields Corner, and at the time, 10 years ago, they were having trouble finding a tenant. So they said, let's open up our own store. What don't we have here? And in Fields Corner, they didn't have an ice cream parlor.
Yeah.
And now they do, thanks to them. And it's not only a place to get ice cream and other snacks and treats, but it's become really a neighborhood hangout spot and a place where people meet up and gather, and especially kids. There's a good clip of teenagers in there after school coming from Cash or the various schools around Fields Corner. And it's like a fun, safe scene. Wendy runs it well, and the kids and the young adults who work for her run a tight shop in there too. And
she kind of credited the teens who work for them as part of their success, right? It wasn't like you don't always see that, like with part-time seasonal teenage workers like being so integral, but they made a point to call that out.
And they keep coming back to visit her often.
Nice.
They value that first job, and also how they were mentored by the Isaacsons in, how to run a business, how to deal with money, and treat people right with customer service. So, congratulations to them on 10 years. It's a success story because Fields Corner is doing pretty well.
It is.
When we look at the business districts throughout the city, some are struggling. We're doing a story next week about Common Square, which unfortunately is we're not seeing that there. There's a lot of vacancies in Codman. One of them is the Walgreens we just mentioned, the Daily Table. They've taken some tough hits in the recent months. There's some signs that it's going to change, and Seth Daniel's been working on this for a few weeks now about what's going on Washington Street. So watch for that in the next edition. But Fields Corner is doing great, and they have a main streets there, and it's well programmed. We just had the open streets. They have a new library branch being built. A lot of good things, a lot of good energy. Just Bookish is a great new spot in Fields Corner. So the energy there is good, and the Isaacsons have a lot to do with that.
Aren't they also getting a Pride crosswalk in Fields Corner?
I haven't heard that yet.
Rumor about that, but I haven't heard anything since like the summer, so we'll have to follow up.
It could be coming.
Yeah. Speaking of legacies, let's talk about these awfully brown papers you've got.
They're kind of yellowing a little bit. This is this week, so it's nice and bright.
Well, the reason you brought these, I think, you had some exciting alumni news at the Reporter this week and got you thinking, got you nostalgic.
It did. Well, a couple of things happened this week. One is somebody on Facebook shared with me, and on the OFD page on Facebook, this relic. I'm going to hold it up if folks at home can see it. From sometime in the mid-1980s. It's a telephone guide, handy telephone guide to Dorchester. Keep this list next to your telephone. And a gentleman on the OFD page who now lives in Arizona still has this on his fridge. It's the original.
Well, you never know when you might need a Dorchester poison control response.
He needs to know how to get in touch with the Grove Hall Library branch.
In a pinch.
Yeah, and by the way, no area code to be found on this. This is pre-617 or whatever, 781. These are all the local exchanges. And it's a nice, kind of relic. It's really cool that I think it's Dick Donahue, who still has it on his fridge. It was on his mom's fridge in Savin Hill for many years, obviously. He laminated it, I can tell, because it's very shiny. But that got us thinking. And then we got some really cool alumni news to share this week, because one of our former Reporter staff members, Pat McGroarty, who longtime readers will certainly remember from the mid to late aughts at the Reporter. He's had a terrific career in journalism, and he's just been hired by the New York Times to be their business editor.
Ever heard of it?
I've heard of it a couple of times. I think I'm now going to have to renew my subscription.
You will.
I may have let the New York Times one lapse in the last couple of years.
That's pretty exciting. And congrats to you. That's a testament to what you guys are doing over there.
Well, Pat's career has been fabulous. He was a Fulbright scholar. He went to Boston College. He, was mentored by Tom Mulvoy, who's our associate editor. That's how he came in our door. Okay. And, he was with us for a couple of years. But Pat's taken off. He went to Der Spiegel in Germany as a Fulbright. Yep. He was at Associated Press. He was at the Wall Street Journal for more than a decade. The Chicago bureau chief, and now he lives in New York. He's been at the Journal in the most recent years with his wife and young children, and now he's at the New York Times. So congratulations to Pat.
Economics editor?
He's economics editor for business.
For business. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So check it out. If you're like me and you lapsed on the Times in recent years,
resubscribe.
Yeah, re-up, because Pat's a terrific reporter and editor now.
So what's all this then?
Yeah, I brought these. It did give me a little nostalgic hearing Pat's name and the old fridge magnet here. I just brought two papers actually. One from this is 1995. So these are the editions we published this week.
Okay.
This one's what was 1995? 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
So this is 30 years ago, and the headline: St. Mark's Parish buries one of Boston's finest. It's a funeral outside of St. Mark's Church of a Boston police officer who passed away. I don't think it was in the line of duty. It was a heart attack while on duty on patrol in South Boston. So he did die on patrol. His name was Thomas Bowes, and he received full police honors at a funeral outside St. Mark's Church. This is what this looks like, and this is what the reporter looked like 30 years ago this week.
Lacking in color compared to today.
But 40 years ago, September 1985, our front page edition was a little bit more colorful. It's still in black and white photos. It features a portrait shot of John W. McCormick, who was the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the U.S. House, back in the 1960s and 70s. He was third in line to the presidency during when JFK was assassinated. Big political figure here in Boston. Many things named after him.
Is that right?
He grew up in Columbia Road.
Okay.
And so he was right on the South Boston Dorchester line, but he was very much that part of Boston. Southie Dorchester was his power base, and then he went on to become a very powerful figure nationally. And the reason he was on the cover, because he had died in 1980. This paper came out in 1985.
Okay.
But they were doing a big salute to him that week at the JFK Library. The Dorchester Historical Society was doing a big program. So that was the cover of the Reporter that week 40 years ago today.
Square for him? Like the Pear Square? Is the Pear Square?
The Pear Square is named after Edward Everett. But McCormick's house was right there.
Okay, that's why I'm getting them.
Yeah, he lived in like a 3-decker house right there at Edward Everett Square. But the McCormick Civic Association in Dorchester is named after him.
Okay.
The Mary Ellen McCormick housing development in South Boston is named after his mother. Okay. And he had everything to do with that, obviously. Yeah. So very influential figure and kind of a nice thing to think back. But I like looking back at the reporters of the past and seeing what, the headline, the other big story that week, 40 years ago this week was 58 apartments planned for Girls Latin, which is the yellow brick building in Common Square.
Okay.
Years and years ago, it was Girls
That's Dorchester High School, no?
It was called Girls Latin Academy.
The big yellow one right behind the second church.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy went to school. Many young women of that era in the 1920s, 30s, 40s went to high school there. I believe Latin school they had a boys' Latin and a girls' Latin, and that's no more, of course. And that building and many people who currently live there will tell you it's been a beautifully restored building. It's got some amazing artifacts from.
What is it now?
It's an apartment building. In 1985, we were reporting that they were about to do this, and then they got around to it. Yeah. They did it, and it's been open now for 40 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not realize that.
So that's my trip down memory lane. I'd love for readers or listeners or people watching this, if they have ideas about, relics that they have from whether it's the Reporter or other newspaper articles from the past. It's kind of cool to see what we were writing about. Or other Dorchester relics, like Seth digging in his attic.
You've got underwear packaging that you kept for 50 years. Bring it in.
Yeah, that's Seth, and you really do need to get him back on here.
I want to see what he digs up next.
Yeah.
Last story we have is about the elections. We'll just touch on this briefly. So Mayor Wu, I think she might win the general.
She will. I heard her on the radio yesterday saying, "No, we still have an election." Mayor, you won. Okay, it's over.
She's unopposed now.
You're good. You can glide path that in. She's not going to do that, of course, because she wants to be a factor in the at-large race.
But the reason this is news is because there was a chance Domingos de Rosa might be on the ballot, and that has been.
He successfully petitioned to get a recount done in 10 wards in the city. He was not successful, however, with the recount because he needed to make up like 600 votes. I don't think he made up any.
Okay.
I may be mistaken. But certainly not enough to make it on the ballot. So it'll just be Mayor Wu's name.
Okay.
Mayor Wu's name on the ballot, unopposed. People can write in something if they want, but
Bill
safe
Forry?
to say. No, please. I don't need that kind of headache. But the other recount was done in District 7, and that also was unsuccessful. Maverick Afonso had sought to make sure that the results were as reported initially.
He came in third.
He came in third.
Okay.
But he was close. There was a bunch. It made sense to do a recount in D7, in my view, because it was, there were like 4 or 5 candidates who all got, within like 30, 40 votes of each other.
Yeah.
And the top 2 were Ahmed Saeed, who was Saeed Ahmed, he was the first place finisher, and then Minyard Culpepper. So that's set that they're going to be the 2 running against each other in November.
And there were like 25 votes between them and Maverick?
I think that's correct.
What did we tell you? We told you to go vote.
And, like 5,000 or 6,000 people did in District 7. So, it's just that there were 11 candidates.
Yeah.
It was a scrum. And as we've discussed before, Yahoo Miller mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Shoemaker, who's from Dorchester, wrote us a letter this week. He's a big advocate for ranked choice voting. He says this is what,
classic
example of how that could have been different. But 2 candidates, and they'll duke it out, and they'll probably they're actively, I'm sure, working the phones trying to get the other 9 candidates who didn't finish in the top 2 on their team, and that's how it works.
And you'll be covering them in more depth now that it's down to 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Yahoo Miller has been doing good coverage for us the last couple of weeks on that, and more to come.
Awesome. What else is going on this week?
Well, I mentioned the Common Square deep dive we're doing on businesses, so watch for that. And we have a number of other stories coming. Cassidy McNeil is working on some a profile right now of Claire Cronin, who's the former ambassador to Ireland. There's a Dorchester connection there that we'll talk about maybe in the next show.
Nice.
And we've got some good civic coverage coming up as well.
We should do a show from Ireland.
I'm down.
Highlight those ties,
I was just over there. We could have done it.
Could have done it.
Yeah.
Next time. Where are the Patriots right now? I think they're 1-2. Is that right?
Yeah, they believe 1 and 2. They lost badly to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It was not a good showing. So
yeah.
I haven't looked ahead that far yet. I am going to the Boston College game on Saturday, Aaron.
Oh, nice.
That's what I care about. They're playing Cal.
Okay.
And
what's the odds on that one?
BC's favored.
Okay.
And Cal is actually 3-1 already. BC had a bye week, so they're 1-2.
Oof.
But somehow BC's favored, and it must be because I'm going to the game with all 4 of the kids.
Okay.
Linda's not going to make it, but we're going to bring some Dorchester energy to Alumni Stadium.
Oh, they're 3-0.
Well,
did you ask me how the Bills are doing? Oh, I thought you asked
I thought
me,
we were just going to talk about BC for the rest of the show. No, okay. What's going on with Josh Allen had another good game, right?
Yeah, you tried to pretend like you didn't watch the Thursday night game, but
well, it was on Prime.
Yeah.
So I
accidentally
I watched a little bit of it.
Okay. Yeah. I'll take a little. Take what I can.
Well, congratulations. Who they got this week?
The Saints.
Okay, is that a good
they're
thing?
like the bottom of the league, so
okay.
I think we'll be okay, but you never know.
Could be a trap week.
Any given Sunday, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Well, we'll probably watch that, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay.
All right.
Good to see you.
Thanks, Bill. Good to see you. Dot Life is sponsored in part by the Dorchester Reporter, Dorchester's own community newspaper and online home for all things Dorchester at dotnews.com. The Reporter, owned and operated by the Forry family, has been laser focused on Dorchester and the surrounding neighborhoods of Boston since 1983. That longevity and experience shows in its award-winning coverage every week. The Reporter is our go-to source for authentic stories about the people, places, and events that matter most to our daily lives. We are proud to partner with The Reporter and Dot News. And you can support the important journalism provided by the Reporter. Just go to .news.com to subscribe today. It's the best deal in town and helps keep our local community journalism alive and well. Welcome back to .life. Excited today to talk about multilanguage learning, urban college, and the immigrant experience in Dorchester and Boston, Greater Boston. To help us with that conversation, I'm joined by Dr. Yves Salomon-Fernández. Hi, Yves. How are you?
I'm great. So happy to be here with you, Erin.
So happy to have you. And you're the president of Urban College.
Yes.
So let's start by talking about Urban College because there's so many colleges in the Boston area. And I admit I hadn't heard of Urban College. So you've got to tell me, how am I missing out on this one?
Well, most people would say that, but hopefully in the last 2 years that's been changing, and that is part of my job. So we are a 2-year college located right in the heart of Boston in the Theater District. We were founded by ABCD, which is down the street from us on Tremont Street, and we're sort of a niche college, and we appeal to a lot of folks who were born here as well as people who weren't born here. What distinguishes us the most is the fact that we offer instruction in addition to English in 3 other languages.
Okay.
So Spanish, Chinese, Portuguese, and we have just added a few courses in Haitian Creole.
Oh, great.
So yeah, that's a distinguishing factor for us.
Definitely.
And we have a ton of graduates across the city, across the state, who are working in a number of professions in early childhood education, in human services, and coming up now in business, in marketing. So those are some of the things that we do.
That's great. And is it all 2-year degree programs?
Yes, and
Okay.
certificates.
Okay.
So, yeah. 2-year degrees, certificates, and workforce training also.
And it's a nonprofit college.
Absolutely. Yes. Nonprofit, accredited, all the good things.
Great. And you are the president there.
I am.
How did you become affiliated with Urban? Where did your career there start?
Oh my gosh, my career started right here in the city of Boston. Actually, my very first job. Oh my gosh, maybe it's not my very first job because I'm thinking back to when I was 14. But one of my first jobs was working for Mayor Menino, and I was a political science major, studied during that, loved it, and then had this passion for higher education, and then continued to progress in higher education and saw the way that it changed my life, and that's what attracted me to education. I've benefited from the great institutions of the city, of the state, Boston Latin School, UMass Boston, right up the street from us, Boston College, where I got my PhD, and had a chance to travel the world a little bit, and just wanted to bring all of that back home.
But you are not originally from Boston, correct?
No.
Okay.
Yes. So I am from Haiti originally. I came here when I was 12 and grew up in Dorchester.
Oh, lovely.
Yes. Right in Fields Corner.
Okay.
And that was where we spent most of our time. But when we first moved, we were closer to the Talbot Avenue, Blue Hill Avenue area. And then when I went to college, when I was in high school, my parents bought a home in Rossie. They still live in Rossie.
Okay.
And then went to college at UMass Boston, and I lived right here in Savin Hill, or not so far from here in Savin Hill.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah.
You've seen the whole Dorchester scene.
Yes, I have.
That's great. So you're bringing into this experience and into this conversation not just someone who serves populations who may not be native English speakers, but also someone who was not a native English speaker. Is that right? Okay.
Yes. So when I came here, actually, I went to the Woodrow Wilson Middle School, which is in the sort of Ashmont area. Mm-hmm. It was a bilingual program, which served me very well. And as a result of that, I learned English. I was mainstreamed into mainstream English courses. And at the same time, I studied learning Spanish.
Wow.
And so through the public school system, I actually became trilingual, actually quadrilingual, I take that back, because I grew up speaking French and Haitian Creole, both of those, and then came here and started learning Spanish and English together. So I continued with that, and that is also why I understand the value of speaking other languages. we're living in a globalized economy.
Yeah.
We have some of the best international companies that are based right here in Boston, right here in Massachusetts. I feel like every other day you hear there's a new company moving here.
Yep.
And we understand that speaking another language is an asset. So we want our students to not only master English and English proficiency and professional in English, but also if you can have another language or two in your back pocket, why shouldn't you?
Why not? Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Not to mention a massive international student body that is here seasonally every year. So a lot of them are also not native English speakers.
Right. And I would say our students are not so much the seasonal ones, but people who found their way here and who are staying here. So they are our labor force. And when employers say to us, we are looking for people who are here, who want to be here, who will work hard, those are our students, because we know they've figured out how to be here and how to thrive. And our work as a college is to make sure that we serve as this matchmaker for employers and for students who want to advance their lives. So, meeting labor needs and putting people on a path to sustainable family and socioeconomic mobility, and hopefully build intergenerational wealth too.
Yeah, so let's kind of get into that specific experience that your students have. Are they typically younger, older? What is it like?
We have a mix.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a mix. Our students tend to be a little bit older.
Okay.
Historically, they've been a little bit older, but what we've seen recently is that we have a number of younger students who are saying, I want this, and I speak another language, or I've been here forever, but I like the fact that this college gets me.
Nice.
And that is, that cultural dexterity, that multiculturalism is something that we really harness really well. And I would say for people who are from here, we also serve students who are mostly first generation. So we get what it's like when you come in and you're like, what is a bursar's office?
All very unfamiliar.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. What's the bursar's office? So we don't use the term bursar.
I mean, I don't know what a bursar's office is.
And I want to see the registrar. Are you in trouble? The registrar wants to see you. Or you want to see
I feel like that person has a ruler all the time.
Right. What's the FAFSA? Right. So, I mean, I just went through that process. My son just went to college, and oh my God, it was like death by storms.
Yeah.
I mean, by forms. So really understanding that students may not know this, and when you're trying to translate these very sophisticated, esoteric financial terms, even in English, or the acronyms, right, of FAFSA, your EFC, your this or that, that we need to present it to students in a way that they can understand whether or not English is your first language, and to say, here's the upside and here's the downside. And sometimes people don't know that. So we meet people where they are. And sometimes it's using vocabulary that is accessible.
Right. So they're coming for associate's degrees. There's a variety of programs. Can you touch on, I think you mentioned a few, but what are some of the other programs that you offer? Yeah,
so we're just launching a project management program. We have a child behavioral health program that we partnered with the Children's Services of Roxbury to launch last year, and that's going really well. We have an elder care program because one of the things that we know is that our country is experiencing a silver tsunami.
Yeah.
So we have folks, even if you had a master's degree in something else, there are so many opportunities in healthcare and in other sectors serving that population that is aging.
Yeah.
And we also have a business program that we just launched, a marketing program. We have we have the early childhood education program. We have a paraprofessional program that we are also launching. So looking at the schools, the needs that they have, and how we can meet the needs of today's learners. They have complex needs. They bring great assets, but they need people who understand what it's like to serve an urban or a suburban population, and the challenges that families face today. So that's what we do, and those are our programs in addition to the historical early childhood education and human services. So folks are social workers, they are family child care providers, they are child care center directors. So we have students across an array of fields. We have CEOs right here in Dorchester, Roxbury, South End area, and across the state too.
Yeah. So what is the percent of them that tend to go, and this couldn't just be a ballpark, but that tend to go on past urban college to further degrees, or versus exiting and going into the workforce?
Yeah, so some of our students, many of them have a bit of a lag time before they re-enroll in a bachelor's degree program or in a master's program, and others go straight into the workforce. And what we are seeing is a transition as urban college is evolving, more students who are going to get their degree immediately. So since we're here at close to UMass Boston, I'll cite one of our students who's also a member of our President's Advisory Council, Lily, who just graduated with her master's program from UMass Boston, and she's doing phenomenally well. But she started at Urban College, and she and some of her colleagues just founded this
cooperative. Nice.
They got support from the city of Boston, and they're able to launch that. And we know that childcare is still a huge issue for us in the state.
Absolutely.
So,
and we're one of the most leading states on childcare.
Exactly. So if we're struggling, imagine what it's like for others.
Yeah. What is the situation that most of the students are coming in? You said a lot of them are first generation learners.
Yes.
Are they fairly new to the country, or have they been here through high school? Like, what is the
It's a mix.
Okay.
It's a mix. So we just had a student who graduated last year, who was on campus today. She was getting her headshots. We did headshots for grads. Crystal Ray, she's amazing. And she's from Cambridge. And she's lived in Cambridge her whole life, had a child early, and sort of delayed going to school. And then she first did her certificate degree, then did her associate degree with us, and then now she's enrolled at Lesley College to do her bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
So we have an array of students with an array of experiences who are right here locally and who want to further their paths. And I'll tell you one more pair, which was a mother and daughter team. I can't remember their names because it was from a couple of years ago, but they were studying together and they showed up to a student event together. So it's like that multi-generational. And that's what we want, right? Yeah. For you to not just be first gen, but to think first gen, next generation, next gen.
When people immigrate to another country, different language, how are they typically learning the language or expected to learn the language?
Yeah, so the thing that differentiates Urban College is that we allow students to come in at a lower English level than other two-year colleges. And we also allow them to take courses in their native languages at the same time as they are building their English language proficiency. So they come with some English. We don't accept people with absolutely no English, but we have partners that do that very well.
Okay.
So, for instance, Jewish Vocational Services does a really good job at that. You've got Catholic Charities that does a really good job at that. And we partner with them, and students can finish some of their basic English courses, and then they start taking courses with us. So they are able to start immediately in their career. They're not lingering in some English course, and that is also why we encourage people to get a certificate first, because a certificate has market value. You can say,
so you can work while you then continue your...
That's right. Yeah. As opposed to a 4-year degree, it might take you 4 years, 6 years, 8 years, but now you have a certificate and you can say to an employer, I have something.
I can continue to learn while I make a living.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And for employers that have tuition remission, et cetera, they can see, okay, you're making progress and you achieve this first milestone, then you get your associate degree.
Yep.
So some students who don't speak English well, for whom English is not the first language, they can start in that program and then they continue. And we also have folks for whom English is a native language, they just go right on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Immigrant populations have traditionally filled some incredibly important roles in the workforce and in society that I think we have often taken for granted. I think that's showing today. But talk about a little, where do these people tend to land once they have their degree, and how is that impacting the economy?
Oh, it's huge. And that's documented. I think when you look at the annual report that Northeastern puts out, or the Donahue Institute at UMass Boston, they actually measure the actual financial contribution of immigrants. And also, I believe the state Department of Workforce and Labor put out a report that said English proficiency is the single most important biggest barrier right now to filling some of the jobs, and they estimated it's like a value of like $1.3 billion of loss, lost profit, lost value, financial value. They actually put a number on it, that if we were to educate folks to become English proficient. So these are folks, in my opinion, who found a way to come here and stay here and want to be here. And we have labor shortages, we have labor gaps. So how do we make sure that they get not only the English language proficiency, but also the skills to be able to meet those hard to fill positions, or just positions that are open.
So at Urban, they're coming in, they're taking English classes to learn English, but then they're taking other classes to educate them in their degree area in their language.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we also have a whole arm that is workforce development. So these are people who are not degree oriented. They're not looking for a certificate per se. And they just want a skill to be able to do a job. And they have the ladder. They can continue on the college side, which is what makes us different. That you can actually get a college credential and continue to make that progress. So for folks who say, I just need to get the skill for this particular job, or employers who say, here is the curriculum, or here is what we would like to teach, we'll work with them to design a curriculum and train people so that folks can go right back to work.
So you have a partnership with, for example, I think Raytheon is close by, not to, just to think of one nearby local employer. If they said, look, we want to bring in 50 new employees and we think they're going to probably come from this background, can you design a course load for them that will help prepare them for?
That's right.
Very
or they
cool.
can say, these people work with us,
and
we want to upskill them. We want to bring them to the
next level. They already work with us.
They already, work with us.
Okay.
We want to invest in them. So Urban College will say, okay, what do you need to have them do? What is it that you want them to be able to do and to know? What are the competencies? So we start there, and then we identify what they already know. So knowing the base from which we'll be building, how much time they have, when the employer wants that done, and whether it is before work, during lunch, after work, remote,
virtual,
on their time, however it's done.
That's really unique. That's a very unique offering. And I would imagine there are a lot of companies that are looking for that service.
Yes. And we're flexible. So that's the thing about being a private two-year college, is that we're malleable, we're adaptive. So if an employer say we want this, we try to understand exactly what is the problem, what is the solution that we can agree will solve that problem, and then how do we do it.
And do you work with companies around the country to do this?
Not around the country, mostly mass. Yeah. And it's great. I mean, we're still a 32-year-old college. We're growing. Sure, we have aspirations to work with companies around the country. But now we are serving our local employers. And we are deeply local and deeply committed to that.
That's great. Love that. Talk more about the immigrant experience broadly. So while they're juggling this education, they're also doing things like finding housing, finding jobs. What other things are in that whole ecosystem of things they need to be thinking about?
Yes. So I will say we have a lot of students who are born here and they have found their way. They know the systems. And when you're an immigrant, it's different. Everything is foreign. And also, I think people leave their cultures, they leave their homes, they leave their families, they leave their friends. They leave everything they've known to come here. So for many of our immigrant students, and I can relate to this as well, failure is not really an option. You didn't come here to achieve.
I tried.
Right.
Yeah.
So students work really hard, and I think the same can be said of our students who are here, who are from here, and for whom the American dream has been elusive.
Right.
So they want to work hard. They are here with a purpose, for a reason. They want to learn English. They want to work, and many of them are supporting families here, families back home, wherever home may be, and families who may be dispersed throughout the world. So I think there is a certain hunger, and I would say all of our students, whether they were born here or not, are strivers. They work really, really hard, and for us, they motivate us to meet them where they are and to make sure that they can hit the next level and the next level and set them up for success. And I will say one thing that also differentiates us that we're just starting is this emphasis on not just financial literacy, but financial competency, so that people understand this is how you build intergenerational wealth. And also these are the kinds of financial predators that may be out there. And so you need to understand when people say, I want to sell you this. What exactly is this? What questions should you be asking? So we're partnering up with local businesses to do that, and other higher ed partners, and it's something that just excites me right now.
Okay. Going back to what we talked about with the partnering with a company to create a curriculum for them, what happens if you don't have someone who can teach what they're looking for? Do you bring someone in? Do you
we look for people. So so if there are people who are aspiring faculty members, whether in workforce development or traditional college courses, we definitely encourage them. So
adjunct situation,
absolutely, always recruiting. So Erin, this is my invitation to you.
We can talk. I've adjuncted before. So.
Oh, that's great. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
I want to spend a little time on social networks because you came here as a child from Haiti.
Yes.
Did you? I mean, that Fields Corner area has a good Haitian population.
Yes.
How much did that help you land and find yourself in your social networks?
Yes. So I would say I wouldn't be here if it weren't for really good, generous people.
Yeah.
My school, actually, the Woodrow Wilson Middle School, had a number of programs for people who achieve perfect attendance, who achieve honor roll, and connected us with mentors, from Harvard Business School and elsewhere. And when I went to UMass, also the person who helped fund my undergraduate education is someone who's still a mentor and a friend, and my best friend from high school. And it was, she was a redhead, and she would come and tutor me in Dorchester, in Fields Corner area. And back then it wasn't diverse.
Yeah.
And so people would say, hey, who's this white girl in our neighborhood? But those are the people who also stayed with me. Yeah. And so that's really important. And so that's part of what we do at Urban College, to make sure that it's not on the off chance that you're going to meet someone, but that we have programs. And when I think of, say, like the Ward Fellowship at Boston Latin School, right? So many people have gone through that program. There's a structured program, and the aim is to make sure that we launch students, and you also get an opportunity to see if public service is something that you're into, and you could decide, nope, not my thing, or I really like that, or it makes me more committed to citizenship and democracy and whatever. So that exposure is really important, and that's the kind of thing that we try to do. And I can talk a little later about our executive in residence program that tries to do that also.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to look at funding for a second, because I don't know if this is news to you, but we're not in the most immigrant-friendly environment right now at the federal level. Has that impacted your funding? And, where else are you getting kind of trickle-down effects from this federal environment?
I think it's a tough environment.
Yeah.
And I can't say that we are as committed to higher education as I've seen our country been in the past.
I would say that's a fair statement.
Unfortunately, right? No laughing matter, but that's the reality we're in.
What are you going to do if not laugh?
Exactly.
Right.
We have to laugh. We have to center our joy.
Yes.
We had applied for an HSI grant, and first came the news that the Department of Education would not defend the HSI program, Hispanic Serving Institution program,
Okay.
when it was being challenged in court. So that was disappointing.
Yes.
And then we heard, oh, by the way, the funding that you applied for, you can no longer get. Because we're getting rid of HSI altogether, and we're also pulling away funding from minority serving institutions, that is not available anymore. So that's $2 million that we were relying on. That
Just
we're not.
just a small
Yeah.
amount.
And so, you look at those things, and you look at TRIO programs that serve underprivileged students. Those are not minority students. That's everybody.
Yeah.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
So it is disheartening. And at the same time, I think there is also a strong community here in Massachusetts that is very committed to higher education and see the ties between higher education and a strong economy, a strong democracy, and sees value in educating everyone, not just some people, and in keeping that accessible and making sure that everyone has the opportunity to achieve the American dream. So it's nice to live in the state. And it's also nice to see, let's just say it, the folks, our public servants, our public officials are also committed to that and saying, what can we do? We have great partnerships with the mayor's office. We have great partnerships with the governor's office and the other state agencies. And it's really reassuring to see people who not only care on a human level, but also who care about the economic well-being, the financial well-being of the state that they are elected to lead. So it's very comforting, and to also see private citizens, people who are saying, how can we help? I care about these things. I don't know what to do. Well, if you don't know what to do, come volunteer, come teach, and yes, give us your resources.
Right.
Be generous.
But you also have another, a newish funding source.
Yes.
Can you talk about the new foundation?
Yes. So most colleges have a foundation. Urban College has not had a foundation. And we are at a time where we realize we cannot rely on certain sources of funding indefinitely and to exist in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And to meet our students where they are, because life is much more difficult than it was 50 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago when
6
you and I
months
went
ago.
to college. Yeah, got that right. Yeah, exactly. So we decided to create a foundation, and we reached out to a few folks and to say, hey, we're thinking about creating a foundation. Our mission. So first we reached out to folks we already know, who've already been involved with the college, and say, would you be interested? And what we saw was an overwhelmingly positive response. It's just been great to see a number of folks, local entrepreneurs, our former mayor here in Boston and labor secretary, who said, I am more than ever committed to this college, Mayor Walsh. We saw Tom O'Brien, who also stepped up to say, I want to do what I can. This is an issue that affects us all. And to also see local entrepreneurs like the Piñas, Nivea and Hector Piña, say, yes, what can we do? This is deeply personal. And just, I could name every person on our foundation board, and other folks who are not on the foundation who say, I want to help. So,
right.
I continue to extend invitations to say to folks, if you care about these issues, if you care about a thriving, strong economy, if you care about equity and folks having access to achieving the American dream, please partner with Urban College.
So the best way to get involved, if people listening want to, is it the Urban College of Boston Foundation Committee, or is it, as you said, volunteering, teaching,
all of it, all of the above. People who want to help or just want to have a conversation.
Right.
I'll say, I want to better understand this issue. I can't stop talking about Urban College, so I'm always up. I'm always game. Yeah.
That means you're in the right job.
Yes, I love my job.
I love that. So, one other question I think around the immigrant experience, citizenship right now is a little bit tougher to get. At least it seems that way. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
all the fees have gone up.
The fees have gone up
for everything.
The times are always long to get the process going. Are you seeing any impacts on, are people leaving when their visas expire? What's the impact on the actual size of the population so far? Have you seen much?
What I am seeing is an impact of a lot of things.
Okay.
It's a compounded impact. Cost of living.
So high.
People are saying food is expensive, so we have students who didn't return this year, and we reached out to them to say what happened.
And they're still here. They're just not attending college.
Yeah. And we have people locally too where they're going to go.
Yeah.
So they say it's financial
Yeah.
obligations, family obligations, and uncertainty. So those things, those are issues that people who are financially vulnerable experience. Food and housing insecurity, and when you have children, it's another hardship. And mental health issues are also on the rise at our college and elsewhere across the country. We are seeing that. So it's the compounded effect of those things. And being poor right now. It's very hard. And even people who are not your definition of like poor, right?
Right.
Like life is just hard. The cost of food. I have a teenage, well, not so, I can't call him a boy. He's a young man. He's now 18. But I know how much he eats. Imagine if you have 2 boys, 3 boys, 4 boys.
Right. And girls aren't far behind.
Yes,
they eat a lot too.
Yes, they do. Yeah. My daughter told me she's going through a growth spurt. I said, yes, you are.
She's setting the stage right now. I'm going to be eating more, Mom.
Yes. So all of those things, they compound. And then I think when you are in a mixed status family, you also worry about loved ones, family members. And I need to be carrying my documents with me at all times.
Right.
And I remember what it was like. I used to have a green card. And and I was fearful then. And
even things like traffic tickets can be
can be a reason.
Can be a problem.
Yeah. So these are challenging times, but hopefully they're not here forever.
I think that's a good note to end on. Before I let you go, though, last question I always ask guests: what is your favorite place to eat in Dorchester?
Okay, so I have 2.
That's fine.
One that no longer exists, but will forever be in my heart: the Blarney Stone.
Was that on Dot Ave?
Yes.
I don't think I ever went in there.
Oh my gosh, it's at the edge of Fields Corner, across from the library.
Okay.
I spent years in the library when I lived in Dorchester.
Yeah.
The Fields Corner branch. And when I was in grad school, my son would go and people would just touch his hair as if he were a little chia pet. They just knew I took my son to the bar with me. But the Harp and Bard, I have so many fun memories that date so far back to college, and I still go there. And now they're a little fancier. They're a lot fancier.
They've definitely gotten fancier.
Yeah. Still love it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was great to meet you, Yves. And we'll point folks to Urban College online and check out what they can do to help, or just be aware that this great institution exists.
Yes, it was great fun.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Dot Life is supported by The Record Company, Boston's leading provider of accessible music creation spaces. The Record Company is addressing the critical shortage of affordable creative space in our city, serving over 4,000 monthly users across 131 communities. They've preserved 47,000 square feet of professional studio and rehearsal space at rates 60 to 90% below market value, ensuring Boston's musicians have a place to create, regardless of economic means. But they're more than just affordable space. They're building career pathways through partnerships with Bunker Hill Community College, offering professional certification programs that lead to sustainable music careers. This vital work is at risk. As creative spaces continue to disappear across Boston, the Record Company needs community support to maintain these essential resources. Their Amplify Boston campaign directly funds space preservation and career development programs. Visit therecordcompany.org today. That's therecordco.org to donate, become a monthly supporter, or learn about partnership opportunities. Every contribution helps keep Boston's music ecosystem thriving. The Record Company, creating accessible pathways to music creation since 2010. Welcome back to Dot Life. We are here for the Tiny Dot concert with DJ Beas. Hey, DJ Beas.
How you guys doing, Aaron? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Can I call you Derek?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. Derek Beasley.
Derek Beasley. It's funny, my name actually growing up is DJ because I'm a second.
Okay.
So Derek Jr.
That was a very easy stage name to come up with. Then.
Exactly. That's what I tried to tell people was my name that was from birth. It was given to me.
You were born to be a DJ.
Exactly. But no, you can call me Derek.
I appreciate that. It's a little easier.
Yeah, of course.
So tell us what you got here.
I got a little bit of equipment. Got the laptop underneath. Not sure if you guys can see, but I got a DDJ Flex 10. I didn't start with this.
Okay.
I started off with a 200, I think, or was it a DDJ 400? One of the two. Definitely a more beginner controller when I was first learning, but decided to upgrade a little bit and treat myself. So.
Okay. And how long have you been doing DJing?
DJing?
Yeah.
It's a funny question. I was just talking to one of my good friends about this. He also DJs. It's just like whenever I get asked that question, I feel like I've been DJing my whole life. I was always the guy like making playlists, making CDs back in the day. Yeah, burning CDs back in the day. A lot of you young kids don't know about that, but burning CDs. But I technically started DJing in 2020. Okay. During COVID when everyone had downtime. So that's when
Who were you DJing for? You couldn't be with anybody.
No, I was DJing for myself and my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, in our basement.
So it worked.
Yeah, it worked. I was putting her through stress, listening to the beginner stages of a DJ.
Nice.
So it was definitely an activity that I picked up during COVID.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And do you live in Dorchester?
I do not. Okay. I live in Boston, so I have ties to Dorchester. A lot of close friends, family friends from Dorchester. So I'm from Andover, Mass.
Okay.
Little north of Boston. But when I graduated from college in 2013, maybe like a year or two after I moved to Boston. So I've been in Boston like the last 10 plus years. I started off in, Back Bay. Then I went to Austin, Brighton. And then me and my wife, currently, we've been in Rosendale for like 4 years.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
You're very bold to wear a White Sox hat around here.
It's just the style, guys. Don't. It's just the style.
I mean, I wear a Bills jacket around. So
yeah. I just like the colors. You know what I mean? I do have a Boston hat, but it just didn't match today. So big shout out to the Red Sox, Celtics, Patriots, everyone I got a shout out from Boston.
You played a tremendous set at Dorchfest.
Thank you.
You had people, I don't know if you coordinated this. I don't know who coordinated this, but like people were doing dances in the street. It was great. Yeah, no, that was definitely a great time. Yeah. Big shout out to my dad. It was a tag team effort on the MC effort. My dad, Big Derek Beasley, he was out there gathering the crowd for me too. But no, we definitely had a great turnout. Yeah. The weather wasn't too bad. Not during your set. It got worse.
Yeah. I was like, I said before, we were going to bring the sun out, and we actually did. But no, it was a great time. Everyone showed out. So I'm happy that you shouted me out on your podcast, too. So I appreciate that. So thank you for that.
I had a great time walking down there. I was like, there's a little bit of a gap between you and the other acts. And then I was like, what is happening down here? Yeah. And there's a huge crowd. So thank you for bringing it.
No, of course.
It was your first year.
First year, I've done Rosendale Porch Fest a couple times. Haven't done Dorchfest, but I always, saw it from afar. Yeah. So I was happy that you guys let me come aboard.
Absolutely.
Maybe we can do it again. I don't know. We'll see if you guys let me in.
See if the cards, what's in the cards.
Yeah, I'm going to have to change the addresses. We'll see.
So where else can people find you, if not at a Porch Fest?
Well, you can find me definitely on SoundCloud. So I feel like, last year, a big effort for me was to release a mixtape, just basically like an hour-long mix every month. Okay. So basically, I did every month, I would do like a different type of genre and sound. So I feel like I pride myself on being able to, perform different types of sounds, different type of music. So I'm proud of myself for doing that. Check out my SoundCloud. I did a different mix every month of last year. So if you want to hear what I have going on, that's our first place. Outside of that, I feel like I mostly do like private events right now at this point. Don't really have like any residencies, but I'm working to get there. Like I said, just started a few years ago, but I feel like I'm on the right path for sure.
Yeah, awesome. So what are we going to hear today? Tell us a little bit about your music selections.
Yeah, like I said, so I like to play a lot of different types of music. I want to make sure, like, when you Google or research my name, like, when you see different sets or music, you can see a variety.
Okay.
So today we're going to do like a little blend of house type of music mixed with some hip hop and R&B vocals on top of the music. So I feel like I can hit a little bit of best worlds with the audience. So definitely stay tuned for that. I feel like it's going to be a great set.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear it.
Of course.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. Shout out to the Dot Life Pod and everyone checking in. I appreciate you guys reaching out to me. Big shout out to Aaron, yes sir, for helping me out. We had a great time at Dorchfest, so it's only right to continue for the podcast. Hope y'all enjoy the show. I go by the name of DJ Beas. Let's have a good time.
Thank you for listening to Dot Life, which is available on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Dot Life is produced and edited by me, Aaron Caldwell. Technical and editing support is provided by Yasser Mahmoud. Additional support is provided by the Dorchester Reporter and the Record Company. Thanks to Yves Salomon-Fernández, Bill Forry, and DJ Beas for joining this week's show. Thank you for listening, and we'd love it if you could share, subscribe, rate, and review the pod wherever you listen. If you're interested in supporting the podcast, visit .lifepod.com for more information.